Hi there, everybody. This is David, and I have some great news for y'all. Suikoden is back. Suikoden is winning. It is no longer a dead franchise. We have some more news on the Suikoden front. We're getting a brand new game in addition to a whole lot of other stuff, and I'm here to tell you all about that. First things first. The Konami series, they have like different steps they want to go through in order to work on this series. And the first step was the remastered collection of Suikoden 1 and 2, and that step succeeded. Pre-orders exceeded expectations worldwide. They saw the demand for this series, and they also said that if the Ayuden Chronicle Kickstarter never happened and they didn't see the excitement for that, and they didn't see how well that one did, this wouldn't have happened. So this first step was great. So they went ahead and they revealed what they called their second step just the other day in a broadcast. And their second step for reviving the franchise is to create a Suikoden 2 anime adaptation. This is going to be made in-house by Konami, and this anime is intended as an entry point into the series. And I can get into animes based on video games. I've watched the Castlevania anime, I've watched the Dragon Quest anime, I even watched that Final Fantasy V anime back in like the 90s or whatever it came out when we didn't even know what Final Fantasy V was. It was like Legend of the Crystals or something. I watched that. I can get into video game animes, things like that. The second part of the second step is their new game called Suikoden Star Leap. This one here is intended as an entry point to, because they want to revive the series. I mean, why else would they be making entry points into the series if they didn't want to revive the series? That's the whole point. They're not making a Suikoden 6 because the people are like, oh, well, what happened to Suikoden 1 through 5? Where are these games? They want to revive the series. They want to bring in new players. They want entry points. So they have the anime as an entry point, and they have Star Leap as an entry point as well. And even though this isn't called Suikoden 6, this is not a spin-off. This is canonical. It doesn't take place in like a separate world like Woven River the Century or Tierkris. This is in the world, and it's taking place in the timeline, between Suikoden 5 and 1. And it's taking place in the same world, east of the Scarlet Moon Empire, and within the Empire as well. And for those of you who are not aware, the Scarlet Moon Empire is the name of the country where Suikoden 1 takes place. And it's going to focus on the ancient Sindar Empire and tell the story of the Sindar, which is so freaking cool, I can't even stand it, because we've heard about the Sindar for a long time. If you are a fan of Suikoden, they're basically like the ancient mysterious race of the Suikoden world that we don't know a whole lot about, and it also focuses on their true rune, the Rune of Change. And I'm over here on Suikosource, and I'm going to read about the Sindar, just so we all know what we're talking about here and what this game is going to be getting into. It says that they're a mysterious ancient race known for their advanced knowledge of runes, and they were supposedly cursed by the Rune of Change, born by their leader on their forehead, forcing them to move around like nomads from place to place. They journeyed from the north to the south, leaving ruins behind in every corner of the land. Some descriptions have been left behind to say that at the end of the legends, they finally arrived at their eternal capital. But now it's believed that they died out. As a matter of fact, based on the current state of the ruins and the installation of traps created to prevent trespassers and raiders, it is presumed that they had sophisticated construction and building technology. But there are many aspects that are still unclear, such as the culture, the customs, and so on. Beyond the many traps set within the Sindar ruins may rest great wealth and knowledge. These ruins are said to be extremely dangerous, with few having returned from their investigations. In addition, though not said to be of Sindarian origin, it is said that the power of the runes originated in times before humanity was present, making it possible that the power of the runes was first harnessed by the Sindar. So this is really freaking cool. We get to actually see Sindar ruins in the Suikoden 1 and 2 collection. We see it in Yakuta. I can't pronounce anything. That's in the first game of the Tauren Republic, and then over in Dunan. After the events of the White Deer Inn, you meet up with Alex and Hilda, and you kind of go back behind their inn, and something happens back there without any kind of spoilers or anything like that, but something interesting happens back there, and that is part of the Sindar ruins. And we actually know that it will be taking place in the same world as Suikoden 1, because we get to see Gregminster, we get to see Rockland, we get to see Lennencamp, we get to see Flick and Victor again, we get to see Humphrey again, and we get to see Odessa. Odessa played a I don't want to say a huge role, but she played a role in Suikoden 1, and her entire story and backstory is going to be featured heavily in the very first chapter of this new game. So then there's a question and answer session that happened over in Famitsu after the broadcast went over. And they said that this is a starting point as a prequel to the first game, but a sequel to the 5th game right there. And it talks about how you can obtain characters from events and gacha into your party across time and fight together. So here's the deal. Here's the deal. Before you take out your torches and your pitchforks, they also went on to say separately that gacha is not required for playing the game, that gacha is only for extra characters. So basically, like all the 108 Stars of Destiny that you would play the game regularly, those are in the game, those are normal. But like, let's say that you want to go and you want to recruit, say, Chris from Suikoden 3 into your party. Well, then she'd probably be gacha. You know? So basically they're saying, hey, the gacha is kind of like a dream team thing. We're going to have all these various characters from all the other games available to bring into your party if you want to make your dream team, but the 108 characters for this game, that is just there normally. You don't have to pay any gacha for it. It is a completely separate thing to do. It also says that some characters that have been in the series for a long time, like Vicky and Jean, will be back. We know that Flick and Victor will be back as well. So this is really, really, really exciting. Then it goes a little bit more in depth with this question. It says, I would also like to ask about collecting companions. I heard that the new 108 stars can be obtained without spinning the gacha. Is this correct to assume that all 108 stars can be obtained for free? If so, what kind of specifications will the gacha have? They answer, the new 108 stars can be recruited as you progress through the main story. We're implementing a system where you can acquire characters from previous games through gacha and events. So again, they are confirming what I said before, that you can play the game without the gacha, which is so freaking nice. And also, I just gotta say, look at these graphics, look at the pixel art, look at the HD 2D. I am loving it. Then there are encounters on the screen, and you can preemptively attack them using field actions, and if you do, a surprise attack will happen, and all the enemies will be stunned, and then you can coordinate attack all of them at the same time. They said that they wanted to kind of like reinvent the Heroes and Kai's cooperative attack from Suikoden 1 and kind of implement that into there. They also say that all 108 Stars of Destiny have voice acting, so that's really cool, and previous voice actors from the previous games who voiced their characters came back to voice them as well. And that because it's called Star Leap, so it's like leaping through time, so it has a system where you can go into different time eras. Maybe you can leap in to Suikoden 5 and see what's going on, or leap into Suikoden 3 and see what's going on, and that's where you'd be able to grab these other characters from the other games. That's the gacha element right there. But I've got to say, so they also went on and said that, you know, the first step succeeded, then they're doing the second step of the anime and of the game, but the second step must succeed in order to get to the third step. So that begs a question. What is step 3? Is that going to be a brand new Suikoden 6, a console Suikoden 6? Is that going to be maybe PS2 remasters? We don't know. But what I do know is that this here is the most attention that the Suikoden series has ever gotten in 20 freaking years. So if we want these games, and we want that Suikoden 6, and we want Konami to put out more games like this, we can't sit back, bitch, whine, moan, and complain. We need to show our support. We need to watch this anime, we need to play this new game. And I am ready to support any kind of new mobile game that, you know, where the gacha is off to the side, you know what I mean? It's a free game as far as I'm concerned, and they're saying that, you know, weapons aren't gacha, levels aren't gacha, none of that is gacha, armors, no accessories, it's only extra characters, extraneous characters. So I think that that's a really cool way to implement it. That's a good way to implement the gacha system. But now I want to ask y'all, what do you feel about this news? What do you feel about Suikoden? What do you feel about this, you know, next step? What do you think is going to be happening with this? Let me know in the comments, and as always, have a good day.